an interesting post over at Democratic Underground titled Bernie Sanders is Too Extreme for America. And what it does is it looks at a bunch of Bernie's issues. And for example, this is from the 2016 Progressive Change Institute polling of likely 2016 voters, a 2015 poll. 71% of Americans support debt-free college at public universities. Only 19% of Americans oppose it. So is that extreme? No. 74% of Americans support ending tax loopholes for corporations that ship jobs overseas. Only 15% of Americans oppose that. That's a mainstream position, a Bernie position. Ending gerrymandering, 73% of Americans. Expanding Social Security benefits, 70% of Americans. Public funding of congressional elections. Only 26% of Americans are opposed to that. 49% of Americans are emphatically in favor of it. Almost half. Everything else is above half, except banning for-profit prisons. Banning for-profit prisons is 44% of Americans say do it. 37% of Americans say don't ban them. But still, it's a majority. These are all majority positions. Infrastructure jobs program, 71% of Americans support. Closing offshore corporate tax loopholes, 70% of Americans support. Allowing the government to negotiate drug prices, 79% of Americans support. Break up the big banks, 58% of Americans support. Only 23% oppose. So pretty straightforward stuff. And I think it's not just Bernie Sanders. I think as you're going to see both Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders consistently taking populist positions, Donald Trump occasionally dropping a nugget where, in the Republican debates, he says, oh, no, wages are too high in this country. Now he's saying, no, wages are too low as soon as Bernie attacks him on it, right? And he realizes, Donald Trump is doing a lot of this. Which way is the wind blowing? The interesting thing, though, is that Donald Trump is doing it without Republican consultants, as best I can tell, because he's not going to the default Republican positions. When Bernie Sanders attacked him for saying that, the minimum wage should be kept where it is or should be done away with, the wages are too high in the United States. When Bernie attacked him for that, Donald Trump didn't, had he been any of the other Republican candidates, he would have said, no, if you raise the minimum wage, you're going to cause people to lose their jobs, which is not true. But it's the lie that's been promoted by opponents of the minimum wage since 1935 when it was first put into law. But Trump didn't do that. Instead, he changed his tune because he knows that even the Republican base wants higher wages. It's the corporate Democrats who don't, which is kind of ironic given that he's a billionaire. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.